So in this one, we're going to add something called Font Awesome. Font Awesome is actually really awesome. It's a cool thing to have little icons like this that are all in CSS. They are actually not images, and it allows us to have some really more dynamic site. I did mention that it's kind of like these glyph icons. You can use glyph icons, but there's just not as many. And they aren't also as dynamic, in my opinion, as the ones on Font Awesome. So if we go into icons, we can see all of the different icons that they have here. Everything. There's so many things in here. So lightning bolt. Let's use this one. I'm going to go ahead and use a lightning bolt here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy the text for it here. So we're going to copy this. And we're going to add it into one of our marketing areas in home.html. So I'm going to put it right underneath this created for all starters of all kinds. Put it right there. And let's go ahead and take a look. If I refresh in here, I don't see anything. And that's because we don't have Font Awesome linked in. So if we click on Getting Started, this is actually going to show us how easy it is to put it into our site. Notice it's using Bootstrap CDN by Max CDN. So CDN is the Content Delivery Network. This is all we need to add is the CSS. This is the best way to do it, I believe. Or you could bring it actually onto your own server, which is the kind of another preferred way that you could do. If you're not gonna do it this way, do it that way. But using the CDN makes it load that much faster. So we're gonna put it into with all of our other CSS, which was on the template tag called we call it head_CSS. We can actually put this one at the very top because it's using the Font Awesome stuff. So we just put it right in there, just like that. We refresh in here, and now we see the icon that actually shows up, which is really cool. So going back to these icons, let's go ahead and take a look at them. Look at all these new icons, and we go back into this bolt. We see all the different sizes here. So how do we get this size exactly? Well, let's take a look at the examples. So if we go into examples, we can see all the different examples in here. So basic icons. So this is what we've seen so far right here. We've copied and pasted that. And then a larger icon. So the different sizes of the larger icons that are built in. So if we added FA5X to our FA bolt stuff here, FA-bolt, and we save that in, and we do a refresh in here, it makes our bolt bigger. But something else we could also do is we could actually come in here and add a style tag. Well, let's not even add the style tag. We can do it in the inspect element part, so we can just see what it does. So I click on that icon and just change the font size. So font size, and we say like 10em, 10em. It will override the other one, or you could say like 30 pixels, either way, or like 100 pixels. But EM would be a better choice. So you could change the sizes. EM's better because of how it just works. So if we said 100 EM, notice how big it gets. And then if we collapse it down, it's going to stay huge too. So it's kind of up to you on how you want to make the sizes on that work itself. But if you remember, we have this text align center, but we can also put these icons inside of paragraph tags. So if I put it in this paragraph, it's going to bring it right on over there, which is cool. And then I could just add a line break in here. And now we've got that bolt coming through. Cool, so that's one type of font icon. That's a static one. So if we go down, we can actually see ones that spin. So there's actually animated icons as well. So let's try one of these. Let's do this loading one right here. And that's the little one with a notch. So I'm going to copy this right here. And I'm going to say always open source. I'll put a line break inside here, add this one in, and I'm also going to put FA-5X. Save that, go back into MVP landing, and now it's showing us this kind of loading notch one. So if I add a couple more breaks, I'm going to add breaks to both of them actually. So they're down a little bit. And now it's loading, loading, loading. And that's going to continue to do that. Of course, you could add FA-spin elsewhere. So it doesn't have to be just on one that actually already spins. And of course, you could always remove that as well. And we can leave it just like that. So it doesn't actually spin ever, which is really cool. So that's something with animated icons. And then of course, you can rotate them. You can stack them. So this will stack them, which will make them look a lot nicer. So if I go ahead and copy this and I'll put it right underneath the paragraph tag there, and refresh in here. We've got our Twitter Square logo. This is stacked on top of each other, right? So if I didn't have this one, let's go ahead and get rid of that one and refresh in here. That logo goes away, right? So if I had the notch, let's put the notch in there and said FA stack 2x. This is another really cool thing. We can have that just like that, which is really cool actually. It's kind of one of those things that's kind of nice. So let's do something a little creative, and let's put the actual spinning in here as well. So FA spin. And notice that the spin is working on one of them, but Twitter is staying there. So this is really cool, and this is all CSS. So this is definitely something that you can do on your own. So let's go ahead and replace the circle notch one with this stack that we have. And I'm gonna have it as FA5x. So let's see if we can do it on the actual span class itself. And there we go. So always open source, and it's showing Twitter. So maybe Twitter's not the right example for that. Maybe GitHub would be better. So let's go into icons. I'll go to all icons and I'll just search GitHub. And luckily we have a few different choices for GitHub. I'm going to use the GitHub logo. This one is kind of standard GitHub. So I'm going to change it from using FA GitHub instead of FA Twitter. Save that. Go back into our MVP landing. And now we've got always open source. And since it's always moving, this kind of fits well with what we're doing here, right? And that also, of course, we could do something like that around the bolt if we wanted. So if we take a look at different icons in here, maybe we have what would work well around the bolt? Probably a circle wouldn't make sense. Maybe the comment. Let's see if the comment will work around the bolt. So we're going to use the comment one. And I'm not going to have it move. I'll just put it around it. So how would we do this exactly? We would use span class equals to fa-stack falg fa5x, and then close off that span. And then here we get rid of fa-5x and do fa stack. And then this is going to be the top one, so we'll do 1x here. And then the other one was I class equals to we want comments, not GitHub. So let's go ahead and copy that whole thing there. Comment there. And then fa-stack 2x. And then we close that off. And let's look at our MVP landing now. And now we have a bolt inside of this. And if we got rid of one of those breaks, it'd probably look a little bit nicer. There we go. So there we have it. So that's a way to use icons. And Font Awesomes are really cool for all this stuff. So if you like Font Awesome, they have some more premium stuff as well, which you'll see on one of these banners at some point. And check out their banners. Definitely support these guys. They have done some really cool stuff, and I've used them in the majority of my projects because it's just been, they've constantly made new icons and new stuff. So, and this part right here is just a very clever way on how they can integrate different icons together and make something drastically new that most people don't have. The other side that's really cool about these things is since they are done in font, you can actually change the color of them at will. So if we did just change color to, let's say, red inside any of them, the whole thing is just like text. It's going to change that color as well. But I'm not going to keep that in there, but it's just something to think about when you are actually using these, because you definitely can and should use them as if they were here. And actually something we'll do is I'll put in the bolt, I'll add a style here, color of yellow color, and then that gives us this bolt. It probably doesn't look that great, but nevertheless it is in there and it works and it looks like it kind of makes sense. All right, if you have any questions on using Font Awesome with your project, let us know. Otherwise, let's keep going.